I hope you are all enjoying your holiday season. You already have your presents picked up, you already have your outfits picked up, and now it's time to pick up the fragrance. Today's selection will be about the fragrances that I really enjoy during the holiday season in wintertime. These perfumes are appropriate for Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and actually throughout entire winter. When it comes to holiday season, most of the recommendations from perfume bloggers are limited to cinnamon and spicy oranges. But think about it, you are hosting a Christmas party, you have people coming in, and you already have the smell of Christmas candles, you have your desserts, and overall you probably have your house that is filled in with the smell of cinnamon. My question is, do you want to smell cinnamon as well and to blend in with the other smells around? I don't think so. In most countries, these holidays, they are around the very cold time of the year when you want to be cozy, warm, and I personally tend to go to thicker fragrances with very rich smells. And one of my favorite notes for holiday season is Myrrh. And I will start with the Myrrh that came out relatively recently, and this one is Myrrh Mystère by Tom Ford. If you don't know what Myrrh smells like, this is your best opportunity to understand the smell of Myrrh, because here we have Myrrh almost in its absolute form. Myrrh is a kind of resin that is mostly spicy. It has some nuances that remind me of oud and peppermint at the same time. But this is one of the notes that could turn into something gourmand if you add some sugary notes, and especially vanilla. This Myrrh of Tom Ford is not so sweet. This is more of a spicy Myrrh that comes with black pepper. So I would say there is more edginess in this fragrance, and smooth sandalwood does not make this fragrance smooth. Despite that Tom Ford fragrances are made as unisex, I would say this one is more appropriate for gentlemen. The next Myrrh fragrance is much softer, also woody kind of Myrrh. And this one is by Jo Malone, Myrrh Tonka. It is not as rich with Myrrh as Tom Ford, but we definitely do feel it at the opening. In the description we see lavender on the top of the pyramid, but I would say this lavender is not very obvious. But I know that some people are disturbed by lavender note in a fragrance of Yves Saint Laurent Libre. If that's your case, maybe lavender will disturb you here as well. But I do like this playfulness of Myrrh here. It has a little spiciness at the beginning, but maybe it's lavender that adds a little bit sweetness and softer undertones in here. And the mix of oud and peppermint is still mingling somewhere around. But then some magic happens with this fragrance. And this is something I did not expect, because Myrrh is usually the note that is very long-lasting and can usually be found on the bottom of the pyramid. Here, Myrrh lasts maybe for an hour or two, and then it transforms into a beautiful, beautiful dry down, which is a powdery vanilla and tonka. And that vanilla and tonka combination is so soft and smooth. I personally really like this fragrance, mostly for its dry down. And unlike most Jo Malone perfumes, this one is actually pretty long-lasting. When I was in the boutique of Jo Malone, I was told that this collection is really great for layering, and I tried layering it with wood and sage. It did not work out. Wood and sage is a very delicate fragrance, and it was really killed by Myrrh very, very quickly. I personally think that this perfume is just beautiful on its own. Especially when it comes to dry down. I don't want any interferences in that sweet and powdery Tonka Vanilla combination. This one is really unisex. And the second fragrance that is also truly unisex is coming from the confidential collection of Carolina Herrera, and it's called Gold Myrrh Absolute. The description of Gold Myrrh Absolute did not look very attractive to me at the beginning. I was thinking immortelle and black pepper and licorice might not be my favorite notes, but what makes a difference here is cacao. This cacao is so rich that it really dominates the fragrance, and the combination of amber, myrrh and vanilla put a sweetness that is very warm and needed in wintertime. Another perfume from Carolina Herrera Confidential Collection that is probably closer to the stereotypical Christmas fragrance is called Nightfall Patchouli. And this fragrance has so much sweetness that I think it could be loved even by those who are not big fans of patchouli, including myself. And that sweetness comes with a lot of cinnamon. The pyramid looks very simple, but there are a lot of interesting nuances. Something woody, something oudi, a bit of amber, lots of sweetness that is typical for holiday season. So that patchouli is there, but it is just so sweet and so gourmand, which is very rare for this note. Patchouli is a very tricky note for me, and I have a very difficult relationship with it. Although I do find this note quite wearable in wintertime, there are so many fragrances where I don't like that patchouli element, and I even think that it destroys a lot of fragrances for me, including Narcisco Rodriguez, for example. Although there are a lot of fans of this fragrance, for me this is just an example where patchouli is just too much. Despite that, there is one fragrance that has a lot of patchouli, but that's a fragrance I actually really love, especially in wintertime and holiday season. And it comes from the collection of Storie Veneziane by Valmont, an Italian brand. This collection is something I truly cherish because these fragrances are absolutely amazing. One of them is called Blu Cobalto, and that's the one with patchouli. But I think the magic of it is not just patchouli, but a beautiful, beautiful union with cacao. There are not many occasions when I wear this fragrance, but Christmas time is one of those rare occasions. So, Blu Cobalto, I'm gonna spray it together with you. Because today I really feel like wearing it. The sprays are pretty generous. And it already charms me with that harmony of cacao and patchouli. And a part of that harmony is not using too much sugar, because cacao is a gourmand note that very frequently comes with too much sweetness. Here, the sweetness is really minimal. I would even say that this is not only my favorite patchouli fragrance, but this is also my favorite cacao fragrance. I just cannot get enough of it. And the last group of fragrances that I really enjoy wearing in wintertime is vanilla fragrances. And this particular year, I really love the combination of vanilla and tonka. This is a combination that just makes me so warm, cozy, so pleasant. But at the same time, I find it very magnetic and sexy. I've already mentioned the fragrance Myrrh and Tonka by Jo Malone that I really love, that dries down to tonka and vanilla. And another fragrance that also has lavender, a bit stronger lavender than Jo Malone. And this one is coming from the brand called Floraïku. And the fragrance is called Flowers Turn Purple. Overall, I really like this brand because I think they have an amazing art of blending. Most of their perfumes are blended into such perfection that pulling out individual notes might be really hard, and they always have something harmonious about them, despite that the intensity level of most of the perfumes is pretty low. Here the intensity level is pretty good, probably around 6-7 on the scale of my intensity. But there are some notes that have just little tiny hints, and I could only understand them after reading the description. If I have to simplify the explanation of this fragrance, I would say this is a nice, sweet lavender. It actually doesn't smell like dry lavender or lavender oil. It smells like real lavender fields. And to me, this scent is really different than any products of processed lavender. So this is a kind of lavender I really like. And then there is something, and an hour later it settles to Tonka Vanilla. Such an amazing soft Tonka Vanilla, slightly spiced up with some spices that you cannot even guess, but overall really soft and cozy. And then there is amberwood in the base, a note that is very rare, and usually it's not done properly. Here it's just magnificent. And overall, I would say that Floraïku surprised me once again with their art of blending, making this fragrance among my top selections for the season. And the last perfume in the category of Tonka and Vanilla is coming from the Merchant of Venus, and it is called Tonka Venezuela. So Tonka Venezuela is a wonderful, warm, creamy, buttery combination of tonka and vanilla. It's almost like butter all over you. This collection, Accordi, is really focusing on sourcing the best ingredients for their fragrances. So tonka in here has all the nuances, all its beauty, and the sweetness here is just magical. Believe me, It's more magical than the Christmas magic. And this is such an easy reach. I've been reaching out to this fragrance several times already, and I think this winter will be very cozy with this fragrance. It is more intense than Floraïku, and it actually has an amazing lasting power. So I think I have covered all my favorite notes for this winter, including myrrh, cacao, patchouli, vanilla, and tonka. What are the fragrances that you are wearing this season, especially this Christmas? Let me know in the comments.